Hello and welcome back to Mountain Home Rookies. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about something a little bit different. You can see I'm inside, so we're not outside today, but we are going to talk about the difference between a buildable lot and undeveloped or raw land. So we often have people ask us why this is taking so long, or why or when we're going to start building, or lots of questions like that. So let's walk through the differences between buying a lot ready from a home builder or custom home builder versus just buying a random undeveloped lot somewhere. So let's define what those two are. Let's talk about buildable lots. What is a buildable lot? Buildable lot is probably something similar that you've seen when you look through advertisements on a Zillow, Redfin, any realtor site. A buildable lot, you'll see, tends to be ready for you to just bring in a home builder and start throwing up a house. Undeveloped land, also known as raw land, is a property or a lot somewhere that is completely empty and has no rights, permits, or anything ready to go. So what does that really entail? So let's talk about buildable lots first. So what makes a lot truly buildable? So build a house, there's a few things you need. You need a builder's permit. To get your builder's permit, it requires your property to be ready in a few regards. One of those is a soils report, so you know what kind of soil you're building on. Another one is utilities. So some buildable lots may have stubbed utilities already. Stubbed utilities are basically their pipes are just ready to go right to the street side. Buildable lots will also have your access ready to go, whether it's a right-of-way, driveway, roadway access, something ready to go. And you'll find that buildable lots will also have, if you live in a desert area, will have your water rights ready, either a septic permit or access to sewer ready. Basically, you are just ready to build a house on. You'll also find that the cost of a buildable lot is typically higher. For instance, and they're usually subdivided, so you'll find them in increments. You could have a 1/10 of an acre, 1/5 of an acre, quarter acre, a third acre, half acre, 1 acre, couple acres. But either way, they tend to have a higher cost just because of that. Undeveloped land, on the other hand, is a bit different. Undeveloped land has either nothing or very little ready to go on it. And so a lot of these items that a developer or general contractor, home builder will take care of for you, is something that you need to handle on your own. As an example, so undeveloped lots are typically a lot larger because they are raw land, which makes the cost cheaper and they're not subdivided. These can also be zoned agricultural, because they could have been farm fields before, could have been wilderness. But regardless, anything with undeveloped is just that. It hasn't been developed into getting all the prerequisites for a house done. So what are some of these prerequisites? There may or may not be utility access. There may or may not be even right-of-way access. There are undeveloped lots out there that don't even have roadway access, and sometimes you may need to get permission from a neighbor or see if there's an easement to even access the property. It may also lack water. If you're in the western states, you may need water rights so that you can either have a well, or it may not have access to water on the roadway as well. Either way, that's basically what consists of an undeveloped lot. So what are the pros and cons? Why would you want to do one or the other? So buildable lot is something you'd want to look for if you're ready to build a house right now, right away. Other financial pro to it is if you're looking at what's called a land loan or a lot loan. from a bank or a credit union, they will usually require a few prerequisites on that property. A big one is typically utility access and right-of-way access. If it doesn't have those, they will often deny you on your loan request. Land loans are very common for people to buy property just for future house build. However, that's something to keep in mind, that they will often not be applicable to undeveloped land, and that's something you'd have to discuss with your loan officer, with your bank or credit union. The pros to undeveloped land, and the reason why we did what we did, is one is we got a lot more property for the money. Obviously, with undeveloped land, the land becomes cheaper, and you can typically get much larger lots. The other one is controlling the costs. So when land is developed and build ready, those costs are built into it. Obviously, no one does anything for free. And so you'll find that if you buy a buildable lot, you'll find that a lot of that work is already built into the cost. So with undeveloped land, even you control a lot of those costs. You control how much your engineering will cost, how much your permitting will cost. Basically everything. You get to control that. You can bid it out. You can try multiple vendors. You basically control how much it's going to cost you. The other benefit to undeveloped lots is they're typically more rural or county. So if you're looking to get away from it all, they're usually a good option. They're also a good option if you're looking to be able to do something more remote or something more unique. Buildable lots, well, sometimes you find them in cities, suburbs. They may have an HOA attached to them. Undeveloped land out in the rural areas, none of that would be applicable. That way you get to control a lot more about it. So why would you pick one over the other? I think it really depends on your personal preference. Are you ready to take on the challenge of raw land and taking on all it has to offer and reap the rewards of what that will give you, like such as a larger lot and more rural property? Or are you someone who's looking to just build right away and get your house going? Really, those are the two biggest drivers as to what type of land you should probably be looking for. So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking for property to buy. So when we were looking at it, we chose to do the undeveloped route just because of that. It would keep our costs down, get a lot more land for the money, and we have some very unique and excellent views where we purchased. So when you yourself are looking to see what kind of lot you can get, undeveloped land, it's a fine option. Just make sure you have the time, energy, and money that you can take care of developing it yourself. Otherwise, a buildable lot from a builder, custom home builder, or a contractor, something along those lines might be more applicable. So in the end, let's summarize here. We'll just throw up a little graphic of some differences. As you can see, the differences between undeveloped land, also known as raw land, or a buildable type lot where it's just ready to put a house or structure on. These are the differences. Let's also just review the pros and cons. I'll throw these up below. Here are some pros and cons to a buildable lot. You can kind of review those right below. And then here are some pros and cons to undeveloped or raw land property. And you can see those below. So as you can see, there's pros and cons to both ways. If you have any other comments or recommendations, feel free to comment below. Appreciate you watching this video. Also, if you haven't, please like and subscribe this video. We certainly appreciate it. And then we hope to be building soon and getting some videos of our building process. See ya.